Welcome everyone, this is Honest Restart, and I got some news for you today, or some nice spicy rumors that I think have some pretty good credibility here. You may have heard about it already, but this is what it is. The rumors are suggesting that Zelda 35th anniversary celebrations will be kicking off next week on June 15th, and potentially we could be seeing pre-orders open up for the long-rumored Switch Pro, that 4K revision, whatever it ends up being called. That's what the rumors are suggesting. Now this information is actually coming from a few different places and I'm piecing it all together here, but I've also heard and seen some things as well. So again, we're going to be piecing it all together, sifting through it, breaking it down, and trying to figure out what is actually going on. So that's what we're focusing on today. Now before we jump into things, let me very quickly talk about my social media. You may see a few different things here on screen. You can check that all out. It is linked in the description below. And of course, if you like what you're seeing here, you can subscribe. So the first piece of big information about this story came from Nate from Nintendo Prime last week. He put out a video where he talked about some things he heard from some contacts he had about something big going on with GameStop. And there was some speculation that it could maybe be related to a Switch revision, potentially Breath of the Wild 2, something like that. So that's where it all started. Our buddy Nate from Nintendo Prime, we've been collabing with him lately, so definitely check out his channel. His video will be linked in the description below. But then more recently, we got this tweet out from Spawnwave. Been getting a bunch of messages about some sort of GameStop event next week. Sounds like it could be Zelda related. And then Jeff Grubb went ahead and retweeted it and said, I've heard some similar rumblings. GameStops are expecting to get more next-gen console supplies in after E3, and that's part of it, but they are also expecting a rush on June 15th, the day of the Nintendo presser. So we're getting information from different people suggesting that there's something going on with GameStop on June 15th, the day of Nintendo's E3 2021 Direct, and it's apparently at least somewhat Zelda related. But it gets even more interesting because GameXplain recently put out a video covering this whole thing, and they went ahead and reached out to a few of their own sources. And one of their sources apparently was talking about how, yeah, they're going to be doubling up their employees on that day. They may not be selling Switches or Switch Lites leading up to that day because there's an expectation that maybe there could be some price drops or maybe even a Pro revision being announced. But also, another one of their sources showed them a Zelda anniversary poster. Now, I'm not going to be showing any sort of actual footage here of the poster. I'll tell you, there's already some screens circulating of this poster. It's nothing that's really that crazy. It's basically just a compilation of a whole bunch of other Zelda renders from before put together in a nice, neat little poster. But what I can say though, is that I've seen multiple versions of this poster from different pictures from what appear to be different locations. The implication being that this isn't like a hoax done by one person. This is actually something going on. This is actually multiple GameStops that have some sort of Zelda legacy anniversary related poster, which presumably will be used for some sort of pre-order. And what I've also heard, maybe there could be some sort of Zelda merchandising that you need to purchase that could allow you to receive this poster. Something like that could perhaps be occurring here. So then, what does this all mean? Is this all happening? Well, I'll tell you, I trust Nate from Nintendo Prime, I trust Spawnwave, I trust Jeff Grubb, I trust GameXplain. I think all of these people would absolutely be telling the truth from what they've heard. Now, to be fair, they're all hearing things. That doesn't mean that what they're hearing is 100% true. I've also heard some things. That doesn't mean it's 100% true either. But it all seems to be lining up. And I think there's a pretty good chance something is happening here. And it's not really that crazy to think that during a big Nintendo Direct, during the anniversary year for Zelda supposedly, that they would announce Zelda anniversary things, then some sort of pre-order could open up at GameStop on the day of the Nintendo Direct. That is not at all a crazy expectation. And when you factor in that we've actually gotten reports about a Switch revision being announced before E3 from Bloomberg and Eurogamer and other reputable sites, you gotta think there's some truth to that, right? Even though it hasn't happened yet, and it's led a lot of people to believe that maybe it's a hoax or what have you, or it's been delayed. Considering the reports from all the reputable sites, something likely seems to be going on here. And this whole GameStop situation seems to be more fuel to that fire, adding more credence to the whole thing. So, what I'm going to jump to is my prediction that we've talked about on the channel ad nauseum. I've been predicting that Breath of the Wild 2 and a 4K Switch revision or something like that will be launching alongside of each other sometime this year. I'm thinking late October. Could this be that? Could pre-orders be opening up for Breath of the Wild 2, a Zelda Anniversary package, and the Switch revision? Potentially. Maybe they'll announce the Switch revision. It'll be $349.99. They will price drop the base Switch to $249.99 and the Switch Lite to $149.99. I think that pricing would work out pretty well, because at that pricing, the base Switch would still make sense, and the Switch Pro would also make sense at that pricing. If they went and brought out Switch Pro at $350 and kept the base Switch at $300, I don't think the base Switch would perform really well at all. And also, if they put out this 4K Switch at $400, that might be too expensive. So $350, $250, $150 maybe makes sense. So I have been anticipating potentially a price drop, so the suggestion of there being a price drop does kind of make sense. And also because of all the reports, Aerovision also makes sense as well. And considering the history of Zelda releases and hardware, the idea of Breath of the Wild 2 pre-orders opening up with a Switch Pro are also a possibility. But that's just a possibility. That's one thing I want to make clear here. That's my prediction, but this could be for something else. Maybe it's not the Switch revision. Maybe it's just a Zelda Anniversary Collection that's going to be opening up in terms of pre-orders on June 15th. Not Breath of the Wild 2, not Switch Pro, but some sort of Zelda collection, maybe including Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time. That's also a possibility here. Maybe they're all happening. Maybe just some of them are happening. Maybe none of them are happening. We do not know for sure, but based off all the information, I think it's very clear that something is happening at GameStop on June 15th, and it is Zelda related, and there are other sources suggesting that it also could be related to the hardware situation regarding the Nintendo Switch, whether it be a price drop or a new revision, or both. I find this time to be very interesting leading up to E3 because there has been no announcement for a Pokemon Presents. When is that happening? Usually there's a Pokemon Presents before Nintendo's Direct. We haven't gotten one. We've been told that there'd be a Switch revision announced before E3. We are getting so close to E3 and there still hasn't been an announcement yet. And we have this confirmed announcement for a Nintendo Direct, and it's supposedly Zelda's 35th anniversary, and there are all these plans, but Nintendo has made zero mention of it. Normally, when Nintendo announces Directs, they announce some sort of focus, something. They tease something at least so we can have an idea of what to expect. They just told us that they're going to be talking about games for Nintendo Switch for a 40-minute Nintendo Direct on June 15th with 3 hours of Treehouse footage to follow. What will be announced in this Direct? I think Zelda. We do not know that for sure, but thanks to this whole GameStop situation, it does seem to add a fair bit more reason to believe that Zelda will be at the Direct. Hopefully, a number of cool things, including Breath of the Wild 2, and maybe also we finally get an announcement for this Switch revision. We shall see. But what do you guys think is happening? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, everyone, this is On Just Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care.